What's up everyone, John from your favorite people person paper company. That's right, Dunder Mifflin. No, just kidding. It's John from Beyond ARTV. Where have you guys been? Tune in. Welcome back to another installment of 7 on Sunday. Today I'm going to be discussing 7 songs that sound much better when played live in concert than actually their studio recording quality. Now I know this is obviously up to everybody's own perception, everybody's own set of ears, and people are going to be telling me, get your ears clean, John. If you actually think this sounds better live, then you should go jump off a cliff. You know why I won't be doing that? Because I don't like it when people tell me what to do. In all seriousness, let's talk about 7 songs that sound better in concert than they do on studio and on tape. And now why is that? Maybe it came down to a production issue in the studio, or maybe the mix was off, or maybe the vocals were weird and it got really experimental. Whatever the case is, I don't want you to think that I hate the original version of the song. It's just that I feel like the live version escalated things and took it to a better level. Maybe not the best level, and maybe not, totally just owning the old song and saying, throw that thing in the garbage because, we can't have that laying around anymore. No, nothing like that. For the studio versions, I still like or else respect every song that's on this list today. It's just that, like I said, they take it to a spiritual level, something there you just feel like this divine connection when they're playing that song live. And no, I haven't witnessed all of these firsthand. I mean, you'd be a fool to think that I saw Joy Division. I'm 26, and that just unfortunately wouldn't be possible. With all of that being said, I hope you enjoy the video. We're gonna go all the way back to the 70s, the 90s, the now. There's a little bit of everything here, so I do hope that you enjoy it. Leave a like on the video if you do, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Now I know what you're thinking. The very first song on the list, coming in at number 7, is the newest thing here. It's something that a lot of people have been very divided on, and I haven't exactly talked positively about the majority of Fall Out Boy's new material. But hey, kudos where kudos are due. The new Fall Out Boy stuff might not be amazing, but at least live, it seems like they're working in some louder guitars and just better mixes in general. And I think that the best performance that I've seen of this so far, of this track that I've selected here, Wilson Expensive Mistakes, is not the Good Morning America, not that that one was bad, but actually their performance on James Corden, The Late Late Show. And I have to say that they really took things up a notch. The way the mixing was done there, it actually sounds like I can hear Pete Wentz's bass guitar, which is not something that I've been able to say on the recent record Mania. And they actually turned up Joe Troman as well, and Patrick did a great job at making an expressive statement vocally. He was able to come in and maybe not perfectly hit every single note, but at the same time, I can respect what they're doing there. I will say that I have to critique the fact that they use so many backing tracks on their live shows now, but you can tell that Patrick Stump's actually up there giving it his all. So this is a great performance, and I do feel like Expensive Mistakes sounds so much better in concert. I've had this idea for 7 on Sunday floating around for almost a year now. This has been an episode that I wanted to make, but this was a last-minute addition. After seeing them at Boston Calling, I knew that Portugal The Man had taken things up to the next level. I'd been wanting to see them live, and I'd been dying to see some of the songs from Evil Friends live, and I had that thirst quenched almost immediately. They opened up with a couple of covers, Pink Floyd and Metallica, but then they broke into 5 songs in a row from their 2013 release, Evil Friends. And the best of those in my eyes and ears, that was definitely Purple, Yellow, Red, and Blue. Portugal The Man's lead singer actually has a very distinct voice, and I was actually very impressed at how well he was able to translate that into a live setting and able to emulate the studio quality while still adding in new things. I also give props to their guitarist and even the backing vocals and the bassist, the drummer. Everybody came together in a live setting in a very cataclysmic way. They went through this song and already elevated it with just a sense of urgency and the way that they put it all out there. All I want to do is live in ecstasy. I know what's best for me. That's the chorus that cycles in. But then they have kind of a face-melting guitar solo and breakdown where they just start jamming, and this song truly escalates and hits you right in the feels. You just want to start dancing, you want to move, and you're just saying, yes, this sounds so good live, so much better. Don't you dare go and get it twisted. I absolutely love the studio quality version of this song. It's one of my favorites on Evil Friends, and nothing can change that. But just going to see them live, and even in a festival setting, and then looking up subsequent performances of this song live, I knew that they had truly created something that was specifically designed to be very loud and very engaging in a live setting.
And that's the hope I have, the only thing I know, escaping me alive. Chicago, let's go! Gonna let it happen. Gonna let it happen.
Number 5, Last Hope by Paramore. This was initially one of my least favorite songs on the self-titled album, a record that I absolutely adore overall, but this song just felt a little bit weaker for some reason. Maybe it didn't fit in the track listing exactly how I wanted it to, or maybe it just didn't have the exact draw that I expected from them. But after seeing them at the Monumentor and seeing this obvious live performance that I showed you of them in Chicago playing this track, it was very clear that this was indicative of what they wanted the song to be. It's truly a beast live, something that's very emotive. It pulls something out of the listener. It demands a response. And here, Hayley Williams, the lead vocalist of Paramore, is able to send chills down the spine as she hits these notes and really just lets the guitar and the bass and everything else simmer within. As you hear this track live, you know that it's something special. And I do hate the fact that Jeremy Davis is no longer on bass and playing in the band, and they don't really play this one live anymore, but actually it came at a very special time in the band because this track might have been written for several different situations, but I love the fact that it can just apply to a myriad of different things, and I think that the fans love it and appreciate it and cherish it because of that. Is it Paramore's best song? Well, that's up for debate, but the fact is that this one does sound killer live, and they bring a more monumental feeling to it. No pun intended with the Monumentor. Oops. Number 4, Rape Me by Nirvana. Kurt Cobain was a tortured soul, and this track here came out long before its appearance on the 1993 release In Utero. This was played live a couple of times back in 1991, prominently on something that saw a Blu-ray release, which is actually the clip that I played for you there. It's a fantastic track, and I absolutely adore the song in general because of its commentary and just the way that Kurt Cobain was actually not seen at the time for what he's respected as today. Kurt was a feminist and somebody that wasn't afraid to stand up to other people. And this track actually has a lot of connections to their other song, Polly, that appeared on Nevermind. Now that song obviously was told from the point of view of somebody who was being kept and somebody keeping somebody away and saying, you know what, all of this stuff's gonna happen. And then Rape Me is actually told from the point of view of a victim. And in a live setting, as Kurt would even say, this is about men and pigs, and this song is called Rape Me. It's something that is just a bold statement that will really wake people up. And they notoriously played this live at like SNL. MTV wouldn't let them play it, and they even teased it once. And in a live setting, it just took on a life of its own. It was something that was even more raspy and raw and just angry and sarcastic and just saying, vengeance is going to be mine. And it's really weird to see this really hold up to this day as being one of their monumental songs that was played live. And while many times, obviously, we all wish that we had Kurt Cobain still, you can go back to these haunting performances and just feel his presence living on.
She expressed herself in many different ways until she lost control again. Once upon the earth, you go escape from life, I lost control again. She's lost control again. She's lost control. She's lost control.
At number 3, we have the short-lived but fantastic post-punk band Joy Division and their track She's Lost Control. Now you might wonder, why do I find this one to sound better actually in concert and at their TV performances that they did versus the actual studio album quality? Well, for this, I feel like the guitar was very limited on the original edition and it wanted to be much louder, but there were actually some clashes in the studio about the guitar mix and how loud it would be and how loud it would register to the eardrum. And here in a live setting, it's very clear that they instantly started turning up the guitar and playing a little bit more fiercer on the drums. And Ian Curtis unfortunately passed away at only age 23. And while so many people have latched onto Joy Division, I've even been getting into them more in the past couple of years after initially not really being able to. It's always something that each time I come back to their music, I maybe glean a little bit more from it, and I love that fact. Joy Division left a very lasting impression with many of their live performances, including this rendition of She's Lost Control, which I truly feel like sounds better than even a lot of their other songs live. This one maybe had such a dark edge to it because it's about somebody else that Ian Curtis had met and found that was losing their battle with epilepsy, and if you know anything about his epileptic tendencies, Curtis that is, then you probably know that there was a huge struggle, and unfortunately Curtis committed suicide at only age 23 in 1980. It was a huge loss to the music community for such a young band that had such a promising future, but if you look into everything else that went into it, even the live performance of a track like this, his dancing is almost manic, and there's like nothing in his eyes. You look at him, and it almost feels like you're looking at somebody who is truly dead inside and doesn't know exactly what they're fighting for. Somehow that pushed the art forward at the time, but I do hate the fact that we lost him. I wish that there were more clues for people around him at the time and more things for mental health. There was probably such a stigma around it at that time that maybe even his own bandmates, his family didn't know how to talk to him or how to approach him. And now at this point, all that's left is the live performances and the studio recordings. And I'll take that, but again, it's very unfortunate.
My songs are never believable. That fake guy street here. Always be the songs that you hear on Wikipedia. And musically I'm demonstrating. When I form loud feels like I am meditating. I'm at the Enterprise when some fella thought me. Young single vital like a Gabriella Cilmi. Yeah, 'cause you need me, man, I don't need you. You need me, man, I don't need you.
Number 2, Ed Sheeran, You Need Me, I Don't Need You. Now, many of you who have seen me review Ed Sheeran in the past know that I adore this song by him. It's one of my absolute favorites. It proves that he can also rap and sing, play the guitar very well. He's extremely skilled, and while I haven't seen him in concert, I might not be in love with all of the man's songs, but I sure as hell wouldn't be opposed to going to see him. The things that he's able to do with creating live loops on the spot with his guitar, and basically just being a one-man band that walks out and takes the stage by storm, it's really truly incredible and inspiring. But this rendition that he does of You Need Me, I Don't Need You, holy shit, it's a game changer, it's jaw-dropping, and for critics of Sheeran, I urge you to watch performances of this track. This guy is absolutely exuding confidence as he plays this song live. He's able to change up verses and ad-lib on the spot. He's able to just come up with stuff, and if you look at multiple performances of this track, you can see that no performance is just like the other, and he goes crazy with these guitar breaks, and while still performing the original track, at least in pieces, it's kind of broken up. You need me, man, I don't need you. It's crazy. It's almost like a statement saying that I'm the guy that's gonna do this. I'll walk out on the stage and do this solo. It's crazy. Finally, all the way at number 1, we have the Red Hot Chili Peppers with Don't Forget Me. This track was often played live in the By the Way era after that came out in 2002, and it was performed really up until John Frusciante left the band. It's still performed occasionally with their new guitarist Josh Klinghoffer, but I do obviously cherish the additions that John did. Now here on this particular performance that I've selected, I feel like Don't Forget Me truly just came to life. And while it is an emotional song, and one that's different for the Chili Peppers, especially with Flea's bass strumming that he does there, I feel like this one comes to life in a live setting because of Frusciante. You can hear him just really just playing loosely over the track. And while he does do that in the studio version of the song, and while I did like it initially, it wasn't until I found this performance and came back to it for this list that I truly started to respect his playing even more, and just the Chili Peppers in general with a song like Don't Forget Me. It's written from the perspective of drugs, trying to lure somebody back in. And Kiedis, and obviously Frusciante, many of the band members that have been in the Red Hot Chili Peppers being drug addicts, at least at some point in their life, it's really just crazy and kind of sad to see a song like this. But as that solo erupts, it's clear that Frusciante is so incredibly talented, and it makes me miss him playing guitar-driven music and just playing the guitar in general. He left the Chili Peppers, he's making electronic music, and I'm glad to see that he's making himself happy at least, but he always was a very strange individual, one that was kind of misunderstood by people, maybe even his own bandmates. But here, you can see that guitar howling, shrieking, and it just somehow fits perfectly with the more melodic vibe of this track. It goes from 0 to 60 just like that. That's it for this edition of 7 on Sunday, 7 songs that sound better live than they do on the album. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below. Leave suggestions for future episodes of 7 on Sunday. And please, while you're at it, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and if you're able to, support me on Patreon at the top link down below. A direct link to my Patreon is right here in the annotation in the corner of the screen there. If you want to see last week's episode of 7 on Sunday, tap right here, or another recent video I think you might enjoy, tap right over here. All of my social medias can be found linked in the description, and I'll see you soon on Beyond ARTV.